Welcome into The Analyst and The Armchair, an NFL podcast where one host is obsessed with stats and spreadsheets, while the other just really loves yelling at the TV during game day and has plenty of opinions. Together, we dive into player news, weekly matchups throughout the season, and all the storylines you'll be talking about with your friends. Whether you're a hardcore or casual fan, we have something for you. I'm Michelle. I'm the analyst.
And I'm Nycole. I'm the armchair.
Today, we are going to discuss all the latest NFL news, give our biggest bold predictions for the season.
Yeah.
3 each, and a couple of mine are very, very spicy. I can see fan bases getting a little upset with me.
Sure.
But you know what? This is how I feel.
Listen, that's what a bold prediction is about.
Yeah, you don't want to give like a lame prediction.
Yeah.
It's got to be bold.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
And then at the end of the episode, we will be giving our prediction for Coach of the Year. So lots of good stuff to get to today. But the biggest news around the NFL this week, do you want to announce it?
Obviously, I do. The Travis Kelce finally proposed to the Queen, Taylor Swift. I mean, listen, I'm not going to say that me last week saying, listen, I'm going to bring up Taylor Swift as much as I can, willed it into existence. But here we are with news for you about Taylor Swift. And I couldn't be more stoked. Couple quick things I want to mention. The memes. They've been incredible. I've seen a few. I'm just going to name a few that I really enjoyed as an NFL fan and as a Taylor Swift fan, a Swiftie, if you will. Someone tweeted, the prenup is probably longer than any book Travis Kelce has ever read. Hilarious. Love. Top 10, no notes. Another one, this is America's closest thing to a royal wedding. Accurate, right? And yeah, those were some of my favorite ones. So funny.
One that was great that said, I can't wait, or it's going to be weird to see Swift on the back of Travis' jersey.
I mean, it's incredible. Yeah,
it's great.
So happy for them.
It's about time. We all thought it was going to happen after the Super Bowl, but then the Chiefs got, just absolutely destroyed by the Eagles. So how could he do it after that?
That would be embarrassing.
It took some months for him to get over it.
That's right.
But we actually will be talking about the Chiefs a lot today, because one of my bold predictions does have to do with them kind of falling apart just a little bit, but that's just a little teaser. Let's get into the news and notes before we get into our bold predictions. And right off the bat, you're a big Commanders fan. We got some Commanders talk to get into. Terry McLaurin gets his big extension. 3 years, $96 million. Well, the number's a little iffy. It's not, some say 86, some say 96, apparently up to $96 million. Do you think he was worth that money? I know you really wanted them to pay him.
I did. I said last week, pay the man. I stand by that. Obviously, I'm very excited that they did. Here's the deal. I think it's in line with what other top receivers are getting right now. The ones that are signing with new teams are getting around the same amount. And so I think it's justified in that way. He's been consistent with them the entire time he's been there. Pay the man for what he's been doing so that he can continue to do that. I think it gives the Commanders a chance to keep adding to the success that they've already had. And it keeps the same people in the organization. And I think that helps for longevity for a team.
Yeah. So my thing with Terry McLaurin is I think they needed to pay him. I also think that he shouldn't be paid the top money that like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb are making, which he didn't end up getting. But I think that's what he was asking for a while there. And that's what kind of held up the negotiations for so long during this offseason. But I do like the deal for both McLaurin and the Commanders. He is on the aging side. Like, he came into the NFL already a little old. So he's only 6 years in, going into his 7th year, but he has led the Commanders in receptions and receiving yards in all 6 seasons. He's been in the NFL by over 375 yards in each of those years too. And then you look at Jaden Daniels' success last year. Daniels been targeting Terry McLaurin. He had 130.4 passer rating. That was the second highest among quarterback wide receiver duos in the league, behind only Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. To all other targets for Jaden Daniels, he had a 91 passer rating. So it goes up by 40 points.
It's a lot.
When he's targeting Terry McLaurin.
It's a
So
lot.
I do think it was well-deserved. And I didn't think he was going to get over that 30 million mark. He didn't. And I think it's looking good right now for both sides. Now, some more Commanders news. Brian Robinson Jr. gets traded to my 49ers. I know I'm wearing a Steelers jersey. This can get very confusing. Steelers, 49ers, both my big teams here. But I think that's great for insurance for Christian McCaffrey. What do you think about the move for the Commanders? Because now, I mean, he was their starting running back. So
sure. And I think it couples well with the Terry McLaurin news because they had to pay him because they were quote unquote in a deficit at the running back position, right? So you don't want to scare your both your running back position and your wide receiver position. So I obviously am sad to see him go because I really enjoyed watching him with Jaden Daniels. I think it's a great pickup for the 49ers. I think, is Christian McCaffrey going to be better than last year? Well, he didn't play a lot of games, to be fair, but I think it's great insurance for them. Now, I'm a franchise girly, and so I want people to stay where they've been and where, I want people to have their whole career in one franchise. And so it's always sad for me when somebody I think that could stay for a long time has to leave, but I understand there's a lot more at play than just, I want you to be in the same jersey your entire career. But I think it's definitely a good pickup for the 49ers. As far as the running back position, I think you have to go with Eckler to start because you know what you get with Eckler. That's always going to be my mantra is go with what you know. But I think it gives them a solid opportunity for the rookie. I'm going to mess up his name. He wants to go by Bill
Krosky. You just call him Bill Krosky Merritt.
Right. I think it gives him a chance to get an opportunity with a really good team.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited to see what the 7th-round rookie can do, and that's exactly what Jacory Krosky Merritt is, or Bill Krosky Merritt. We'll call him Bill, all right? We'll call him what he wants to, even though I don't know if a Bill Krosky can be good in fantasy. We shall see. But he's going early. He's going pretty early in drafts now. I mean, I just did a draft, and he's going all the way in like the 8th, 9th round. So he's climbing up. People are very excited about his opportunity. I do think Austin Eckler should be the main focus there. I know he's 30, but we've seen him have fantastic years. He can be a great touchdown scorer. He's a great receiving back. So I do think they'll lean on Austin Eckler a lot. I like this trade for both sides because Brian Robinson Jr. is just a guy, like really, really, really just a guy. He's a fine guy to trade.
Sure.
You can easily replace him. But for the 49ers, they cannot keep a running back healthy to save their lives. Right. So they needed depth and they needed someone, a better insurance behind Christian McCaffrey than just Isaac Guerendo and a bunch of guys that are hurt. So love that trade for both of them.
Yeah.
Now, getting into the Chiefs news here, Rashee Rice, their wide receiver, officially suspended the first 6 games of the season. It was confusing here last week. They said that we might not know until midseason because that's when they were going to do the official investigation and the meeting. But he decided just to agree on miss the first 6 games. So he knows exactly what he's getting. And this is set now. He's not going to fight it. I'm fine with him accepting this, and we knew it was going to be around 4 to 10 games. So I think 6 games is, fair. But I didn't realize looking at the Chiefs starting wide receivers. So Xavier Worthy, we love him. Texas Longhorn fans here. Hollywood Brown, fine. He's been fine in his career. Definitely didn't do anything with this team last year. But now that Rashee Rice is suspended, Nycole Remigio, I knew I was going to mess up this name. Nycole Remigio is like in place to be the starting slot wide receiver. Sure. This dude was an undrafted wide receiver last year. And really, he's just a punt returner. That's his only things that he did last year was return. He had some good returns, absolutely. But he had 6 targets and 2 receptions last year. That's it. And now he's expected to be a starter for the first 6 games. And let me read this list to you.
Okay.
Of the first 6 games.
All right, here we go.
There's one easy game in it. It's the Chargers week 1, the Eagles week 2, the Giants. They should be able to really beat up on them in week 3. Then the Ravens in week 4, the Jaguars in week 5, who should be difficult, and the Lions in week 6.
Yeah, I honestly love it. I would love to see them go what, 1-5?
I love that you're like a Taylor Swift fan and we're going for Kelsey, but you're like, screw Kelsey.
Well, listen, Taylor Swift, it's not her fault that she fell in love with somebody that was on the Chiefs. He could have played for the Texans and then she'd be here and
But
it'd
then
be
she
great.
couldn't sing her song.
Listen, she would have made it work. Have you heard her lyrics?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
I hope this is a down year for Mahomes. I'm mean. I know I'm so sick of them though. And I know it's not fair, but it doesn't have to be fair. It's my opinion, right? I also Rice, he didn't play in the last 13 games with them. Is that correct?
I think 14, yeah.
I'm not the stat, girl, but he didn't play any of the playoffs. So, like, I understand they don't have a lot of weapons at that position currently. To me, that's on them. They knew this was coming down the pipe, right? Like, you knew this was probably going to happen.
Mhm.
What did you do to prevent it? Nothing. So to me, I would love to see the Chiefs be fine this year.
So we'll get more into what I expect out of the Chiefs this year, but Mahomes already had career lows in passing yards per game, passing yards per attempt, 6.8 passing yards per attempt. That's on like Daniel Jones numbers right there. He had a career low in passing touchdowns, was just 26, a career high in the time sacked last year, which we'll get into more when I talk about how I think they're not going to win the division and giving that spoiler alert there.
But listen, you didn't even want Daniel Jones to start last week. So
exactly.
He's Daniel Jones numbers.
I am not comparing Patrick Mahomes to Daniel Jones. That's not happening right now.
Uh-huh.
I know Patrick Mahomes is the best or second best quarterback in the league. I like to say it's Josh Allen. People get very upset with that. Let's keep moving on through this news. So Joe Mixon for your Texans, he's going to miss the first 4 weeks of the season, at least, with an ankle/foot injury. It really seems like he's not going to be back anytime soon, though. Like, they put him on the 4-week thing to see if he can keep rehabbing, keep being better, but it has not gotten better throughout this offseason. And from the rumors, it sounds like he could miss the whole year. So does that make you worried about your Texans, or are you completely confident in Nick Chubb? Because I know you love him.
I do love Nick Chubb. Here's the thing. I'm not so worried. Texans are, and CJ Stroud is a throwing quarterback. I'm not so worried about their production. And honestly, at the running back position, I like Dameon Pierce being back. I like Nick Chubb. I like the kind of 1-2 punch of the two of them. So I'm not too worried. Would we love to have Joe? Sure. But I don't know that it will set us back as much as people think it will. And so, I just think the wide receivers that they've added this year will kind of take that burden off of the running back position and bring more threat to the throw, right? So I'm honestly not too worried. I'd love to see Joe Mixon out there. I hope he's not out more than 4, 5, 6 games, but I think we're going to be okay. Maybe that's optimistic.
Yeah, I'm not that worried about it. It's not because Nick Chubb, it's so hard, right? Because he's aging, and it's not just the aging, it's the knee injuries. It wasn't just a regular old knee injury that he had a couple years ago. It was absolutely terrible with his ACL and MCL, and it was a brutal, brutal injury, and it wasn't the first time he suffered that injury. He suffered the same injury in college. So it's the second time his knees have to go through this. And we saw the downfall last year after the injury. He's been one of the most efficient running backs in the league his entire career. And last year he was averaging just 3.3 yards per carry. That's a massive drop off from his 5.3 yards per carry. That's 2 yards per carry less. So we'll see if he can get, maybe he just needs a year to get back in shape, to get his knee completely healthy, and maybe he can be great. From the sounds of it, though, at camp and practice, he really doesn't have that burst anymore. I'm saying Dameon Pierce, he ain't it. I'm not even counting on him. Woody Marks, that's all I'm saying. Their 4th-round rookie running back. Keep an eye on him. I really like him. And I think he could take over this backfield by midseason if Joe Mixon doesn't come back.
Listen, I would love that.
Remember Woody Marks, people, for your fantasy leagues.
Woody Marks.
Last piece of news here we have to bring up. And it seems so silly to talk about this, but it's a starting quarterback job. So I don't even know, Spencer Rattler wins the starting quarterback job for the Saints. This should be huge news. One of 32 starting quarterbacks.
Sure.
In the NFL. And nobody cares.
No.
He beat out Tyler Shuck, their rookie this year.
Mhm.
And if Tyler Shook, who they clearly wanted to win the job, can't beat out Spencer Rattler, there's no hope for this team. I mean, we knew going in to this offseason that the Saints quarterback situation was absolutely abysmal. But you're like, maybe someone will impress us. It really only came down to Tyler Shook. Could he impress us or not?
Right.
Apparently, he can't even beat out Spencer Rattler, who, by the way, last year went 0-6. 0-6 in his starts. In those 6 starts, he had 4 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
Oh, no.
Mhm.
Oh, no.
And he beat out Tyler Shook. And it's not because this preseason he's been balling out.
Right.
He's looked terrible. So
It's the worst of the worst, right? I mean, the Saints are bad last year. They're gonna be worse this year. I mean, it just is what it is.
It's about time they finally are terrible and just get, like,
sure. I think I give them 4 games. I think they win 4 games.
Okay.
And I looked over their schedule and I thought, I'll give them 4, and probably one of those was generous, right? So I think they're definitely going to be the worst team in the NFL this year. And we'll see what happens. But
Tyler Shook has to get in at some point. They took him because they thought he was NFL ready. I mean, the man is already 26 years old.
Yeah.
As a rookie. Well, sorry, he will be 26 in September. But he's older than Brock Purdy. He's older than Trevor Lawrence. Much older than CJ Stroud. Like, these guys have been in the league. And he's not ready to beat out Spencer Rattler. I don't know. Saints fans, I think you're in for a really, really sad year.
Yeah.
However, maybe you're in the Archie Manning competition.
Oh, you love Archie Manning.
I do love
So
him.
maybe they are, and good for them.
I wonder if he'd come out if the Saints had the number 1 overall pick. Because Archie Manning will get to decide if he wants to come out or not or stay with Texas.
Right.
And keep making his money there.
Right.
And if the Browns are number 1 overall, he's not coming out. I wonder if he would for the Saints.
Yeah, not the factory of sadness. No.
I would stay for the next 5 years in college if I didn't have to. I love the city of Cleveland, don't get me wrong, but the Browns are a disaster of an organization. I'm not just saying that because it's Jersey. I have rooted for them, but they're terrible. Everyone can admit that. All right, let's move on to our main topic for today, and that's our bold predictions for the 2025 season. We're each going to give you our top 3. Do you want me to go first? Do you want to give your first one?
Let's start with you because you've been foreshadowing it the whole show. So go ahead.
I will. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
So yes, I have been talking about the Chiefs and giving you little warning signs here about what I'm going to say. But the Chiefs will not win their division for the first time since 2015.
10 years.
Yeah, it's been a real long time. And it's been 9 straight seasons, right, that they've won the division. Now, that's already the second longest streak in NFL history of any team winning a division, behind only the Patriots during their 2009-2019 dynasty with Tom Brady. Now, can Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have the same type of dynasty? Sure. But they're already 2 seasons past the 3rd place, right? So already they're doing something that no one's ever done before besides the Patriots. And it's already going to be extremely hard to continue this streak. But last year, I know they were 15-2, but watching them, it was like every game. How are they winning?
Shocking.
It was like they always just got so lucky and they're always just winning.
It was annoying, quite frankly. Yes.
The stupidest stuff would happen. They would keep winning. They had 4 wins last year by fewer than 3 points.
So many kicks at the end of the game to win.
Fewer than 3 points. That means you win by 1 or 2 points. Do you know how crazy that is to have 4 wins by that? I'll tell you, it was tied for the second most such wins in a season in NFL history. So that was wild. That how many times they just kept getting so lucky with either them kicking a field goal at the last second and winning, like you said, or like the Broncos should have won their first game. They blocked that. Like it was like a 30-something yard field goal and they block it. Like how? Like they get so lucky and they have won each of their last 17 one possession games. So that's an 8-point game or less. Wow. And that's the longest winning streak in one possession games in NFL history by 4 games. Like their streak is insane of luck. And I get it. Andy Reid's amazing and Patrick Mahomes is amazing. And that helps you win at the end of games. It does, but at a certain point, it does come down to luck. Like it does.
Okay, yes and no.
It's how the ball bounces for you every single time the correct way. It has to
Okay,
end at
yes,
some point.
I love to hate on the Chiefs, but there's something there, right? Like there's coaching,
Yeah.
there's the guys that are quote unquote insignificant on the football field doing what they need to do to put them in that position. So while I agree with you, a lot of them were like, "Are you serious?" At the end of the game, I think it's 50-50. I want to say it's 50% luck and 50% the person that was there at the time of whatever was happening did the right thing.
So that was my bitter and petty reason. But I actually have other reasons that make actually more logical sense. Okay. So they already struggled with their offensive line last year. I brought up that Mahomes was sacked the most in his career. But then they lose all-pro guard Joe Cheney. They decide to trade him away because they can't afford to pay him. Mm-hmm. They're going to be starting a rookie left tackle, Josh Simmons, who was the sixth or seventh tackle taken because he went right at the end of that first round. I already brought up their scary wide receiver group, especially without Rashee Rice there for the first 6 games. Travis Kelce is going to be 36 years old in October. We already saw the fell off last year. And they have a very, very uninspiring running back room. Like Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, Elijah Mitchell in 7th round. Brashard Smith doesn't do it for me. The defense should still be fine. But they also did lose starting safety, Justin Reed. So those are all worries. And I think the rest of the division has gotten so much better. The Chargers going to the second year with Jim Harbaugh and adding all of their, revamping their offense. And their defense already last year was number 1 in the league. The Broncos with Bo Nix going into his second season. They added more weapons for him. Their defense was already amazing last year. It should only be better this season. They used a first-round pick on Jahdae Barron, another Texas Longhorn guy who should have never fallen that far to them. They get an amazing CB prospect at pick 20 or wherever they were. And then the Raiders, we still expect them to be last in the division, but they added some great pieces with Pete Carroll as the head coach. And Geno Smith is a huge upgrade to Aiden O'Connell. And Ashton Genty should be absolutely amazing. So the rest of the division's so good. I think this is the year the Chiefs fall off. They still make the playoffs, but they're a wild card team.
Okay. I like it. I mean, my question to you is, Travis Kelce. Does he have a better season than last year or same or worse and then retire?
I think he has a better season in touchdowns. He actually had quite a lot of targets last year. I think he's like 3rd in targets among tight ends. I don't think his receiving yards or receptions go up too much, but his touchdowns have gone down a ton the last 2 years, and that's really felt the impact of his decline. So if he can increase those this year, I think he can have a little bit better of a season. And if he gets, 10 touchdowns and has a better year and they win the Super Bowl, maybe he will retire. But they're not winning the Super Bowl this year. So.
Absolutely not. Yeah, no. So, but I still think he retires. But
why would you? Well, I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
He should retire
because he can be a stay-at-home man. To his really impressive wife.
Just follow her around tour all
right.
the time.
That's exactly right.
All right. Give me your first bold prediction.
Okay. Well, I had a different one, but I'm switching my order because I want to stay in the division. Okay. And this is bold. Okay. That's the whole point of this, right? And you just said they were going to be last in the division, which makes me sad.
Well, I said they probably will be.
The Raiders make the playoffs.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so they were bad last year. I mean, really bad. 4-13, I believe, right? Not good, okay? But they have such low expectations. I think that actually sets them up for success, right? Because we say, oh, like Pete Carroll, cool, and Geno Smith, and they'll be good together, great. And then we have some other things that I'll mention in a minute, but like, no one's expecting them to be first or second in the division, right? And who doesn't love an underdog? Okay. So I think the Raiders make the playoffs, mainly because I think the rest of the conference, I think they have a chance. Now, will they come in at 7th seed? Probably, if my predictions are correct. But I do think Pete Carroll and Geno Smith just has something going on, and the Seahawks just weren't where it was. But I think with the weapons that are already in Las Vegas, I think they have a chance. Now, the team seems really stoked and locked in on this pairing and Pete Carroll as the head coach. You've got Max Crosby, and Brock Bowers, who are elite in their positions. People are saying Brock Bowers is number 1 tight end this year, which I don't know if I agree
It's George
with that.
Kittle, but Brock Bowers can be second.
Listen, I don't know if I agree with that, but I think he will be very good, right? And so definitely top 5, definitely
He
tight
should,
ends.
yeah, he
He's
should
probably
definitely be
top 3.
Yeah.
And then you have Ashton Genty, who you mentioned earlier, as a very exciting addition. So we're here for bold predictions, people. I think the Raiders make the playoffs.
Okay, so do you think the Chargers and the Broncos don't, or are you going with 3 teams to make the playoffs in that division?
I think 3 teams make the playoffs.
And you're not going to give a
And
third
I'm
one?
not going to say the Broncos.
Oh, wow. I actually kind of love that. I've been really wanting to say the Broncos are going to be worse this year than last year.
I definitely think they will.
Oh, well, no. I think Bo Nix is going to fall off a little bit.
And I think the Chiefs are going to be worse, like you just mentioned.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. The Chargers, as you said last week, you assume they're going to be very good. I agree with you. We'll see. And so that gives the Raiders a lot of good room to make the playoffs.
I do like the Raiders this year. As long as Geno Smith cannot make stupid decisions, he has the weapons he needs. I like
Agreed.
it. And if Ashton Genty can ball out and be that rookie of the year like we're all expecting, it can get interesting. And their defense, for some reason, not always, but performs better than they should. Like, you look at them on paper and you're like, they have nothing besides Max Crosby. But they've actually outperformed themselves. So
listen,
I like it.
If I had to work out next to Max Crosby, I would be doing everything I could in my power to not disappoint that man. He's so scary.
He's very, very scary.
Yeah.
All right, my second one, and it's kind of similar to yours. It's a really bad team who I'm saying is not only going to make the playoffs, but win a playoff game for the first time since 2010, and that's the Chicago Bears. So they last made the playoffs in 2020. So it's been a while now, lost in the wild card round, but they have not won a playoff game now in 15 years, which is crazy. And last year they were really, really bad, 5-12. Caleb Williams did not look like a number 1 overall pick. The whole offense was a disaster, but the coaching staff all gets fired. They bring in all the new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. And I do think their hires are really, the Ben Johnson hire is obviously the most exciting at head coach, right? We've been waiting for him to have a head coaching job. If anyone's going to be able to fix Caleb Williams and, get him back on track to being what he should be, it is Ben Johnson. But Ben Johnson's offense with the Lions, they scored at least 450 points. And each season he was the OC, so all 3 seasons. Yeah. The Bears have had 1 season where they've scored 450 points. And that was back in 1985.
Whoa. None of these people were even born.
No, literally.
We weren't born.
We weren't born, and they definitely weren't born, because now we're old for NFL players.
Oh, yeah.
But I think with all the, they lost Keenan Allen, sure, but they brought in Luther Burden the third in the second round. They brought in Colston Loveland to go with Cole Kmet. They have Roma Dunze, who they took 9th overall last year, coming into his second year. And please, Ben Johnson, use him better than he was utilized last year, not just all deep. And then they still have DJ Moore. They upgraded their offensive line, which was such a big struggle last year. It was Caleb Williams holding onto the ball far too long, sure, and Ben Johnson has to work with him with that. But also the offensive line was just really, really bad. And Ben Johnson, when got that head coaching job, and was like, we're going to fix this offensive line. The entire interior offensive line is completely different. They trade for Joe Thuney, who I just mentioned. The Chiefs lost their all-pro guard, because that's where he went to. They traded him to the Bears. They signed Jonah Jackson, who used to be with Ben Johnson in Detroit, a really, really good guard. And then they signed the top center in free agency in Drew Dahlman from the Falcons. So I think with all these additions, the Bears, I know a terrible record last year, but I think the Vikings fall down a little bit from last year. I think the Packers are well overrated. I brought that up last episode. So I think they're second in the division behind the Lions. They make a wild card team and they win a playoff game.
Okay. You know how I feel about Caleb Williams. I hope he has a great sophomore season. I really do.
I think he's going to be so good.
I hope so, for your sake and your guesses, but predictions. But I think I like DJ Moore. Obviously, I think Rome was underutilized last year. And I think if they can hone in on utilizing those two, I definitely think they have a better record. I think winning a playoff game is a stretch. I do. Sorry. But
It
we're
is
here
if
for
it-
bold predictions.
Yeah.
Right.
They need to get to like the 5th or 6th seed where they don't have to play the 2nd seed.
Sure. Yeah. If they want to roll in 6, that's great.
Yeah.
But, we'll see.
I feel it. I really think that I think the Packers are going to massively disappoint this year, which leaves room for then the Bears.
I would like that. I would like to come back in a few months, and say, wow, Michelle,
I'm so smart.
you are so smart. Those mimosas are doing so good. You are so smart.
I know I'm kind of getting into this one, so the takes might get spicier as we go on.
Right.
What's your second bold prediction?
Okay. I think the Cardinals, who no one thinks about ever.
You're wearing a 49ers jersey.
Shh. I know. The Cardinals win their first divisional title since 2015.
That's a wild one.
Listen, you said bold. I'm bold. Okay, that's just who I am. That's how I live my life.
Spiciest bold take.
Here's why.
Okay.
The 49ers have a pretty easy schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But their scoring defense was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So terrible. Now, I know they brought in the new defensive...
Robert Saleh.
Thank you. Great. New defensive coordinator. Hopefully he can fix that, and maybe I'm wrong. Okay, great.
No, their
great.
defense is going to be suspect. Yeah, they have a lot of
Okay,
goals.
so the Rams, how bad is Matthew Stafford's injury actually?
True.
Because I said it last week, I'm skeptical. Okay, so I don't think they're really a contender, right? So then, and the Seahawks, I don't even need to say anything, right? So, which is mean, I know. Whatever.
Because Sam Darnold sucks.
What? Okay, you hate. I think he's fine, but he has no one to throw the ball to. I mean, So anyway, not even a question. So Kyler Murray is a solid quarterback. I don't believe he's been in a position to be talked about. I feel like everybody thinks he's more underrated than he actually is. I think he's a great quarterback. Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey Benson are coming off of their rookie years. And I think that leads to less pressure. I just really do. I'm all about like pressure and what people say about you and what you got to do. Right. And so I think they're able to like settle in to what they're doing and where they need to be. I think that only helps Arizona. Okay. So they also added Josh Sweat from Philly, who is only going to bolster the defense. And so they were a fine team first half of the season, and then they kind of fell off. So I really think the Cardinals have a chance if the 49ers don't take advantage of the opportunity that they have to win the divisional title.
I highly disagree, but I'm a huge
Okay.
49ers fan, so obviously, listen, I think there's a lot of holes on the 49ers, absolutely. I think they're hoping for so many young players to step up. I just think their offense will be good enough, and their schedule's easy enough. And I really, really like the Rams. But you're right. Like, if Matthew Stafford does get hurt, then I don't like the Rams at all anymore. But if Matthew Stafford can stay healthy, I actually think they win the division. I'm not even...
Or be healthy. Not stay.
Yeah,
be healthy.
And be able to stay out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the craziest thing. I just hate their coaching staff so much, and I actually think Kyler Murray is not very good. So
okay, I don't agree with that at all.
So
no,
I can't agree with you on this bold prediction, but I like
okay.
you being spicy. I appreciate
Listen, I'm just here for the opinions. Right?
I like it.
And the old fashions. Just me.
My last bold prediction here is that Bijan Robinson will not only be in the running for MVP by the end of the season, but like be like the strongest contender for MVP by the end of the season. And you might say, this isn't bold. Like, Bijan Robinson's one of the best players in the league. Well, a running back has not won MVP since 2010 when Adrian Peterson won it. A quarterback has won MVP every single year. I said 2010, every single year since 2013. Adrian Peterson won in 2012. Still, my point stands. It's now 2025. Sure. It's been a very, very long time. And now, if I had to like bet my house on who's going to win, Yeah, I would probably pick like a Joe Burrow or a Jaden Daniels, right? Because they're a quarterback and it's very political with the whole MVP votes. Like we don't expect it to be Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes again because Mahomes and Jackson have already won twice recently. Josh Allen just won last year. So they're going to want to give it to another quarterback. But let's say Joe Burrow's Bengals don't make the playoffs again, right? Because I fully expect Burrow to be amazing.
Yeah.
But they don't make the playoffs again. So, like, how do we give him MVP? Let's say Jaden Daniels takes a step back and doesn't become that superhero we think he can be for the Commanders.
He will.
I don't think he's
How
going to
dare
take a step
you?
back, but let's say he's not like an MVP level quarterback.
Sure.
I can't really think of many other options out there. And the reason I want to go with Bijan Robinson, I feel like I know everyone loves him. And I know right now, like in fantasy drafts, he is the one, the first pick in many leagues or Jamar Chase. But I do feel like he's being overlooked by how good his year was last year. Almost 1,900 yards, 1,887 scrimmage yards, 15 scrimmage touchdowns. He was one of two players with 1,400 rushing yards and 400 plus receiving yards. So he can do it both ways. He's so good as a receiver for like the big workhorse back that he is. And he started really slow last year. He put up those numbers and started, really slow in terms of his numbers, I should say. So he still had to annoyingly split the backfield with Tyler Algier last year for the first 6 weeks of the season.
Right.
Weeks 1 through 6, he was seeing 17 touches per game, averaged 90 scrimmage yards per game, had 3 touchdowns. For an average running back, fine. Those are fine numbers, but not for an elite running back that Bijan's expected to be. But from week 7 through 18, his numbers went way up. They finally were like, Tyler Algier, get out of here. Thank you. Like, feed the man, Bijan Robinson. But from week 7 through 18, 24 touches per game, 122 scrimmage yards per game, and he scored 12 touchdowns during that time. That pace, if it was a 17-game pace, a 17-game season, would have been for 2,074 yards and 19 touchdowns. Now with Michael Penix Jr., it only got better. So Michael Penix Jr. comes in. Kirk Cousins stunk, right? He starts the last 3 games. Penix does. In those 3 games, Bijan Robinson averaged 25 touches a game, 125 yards per game, and scored 6 touchdowns in those 3 starts. He scored 2 touchdowns in each of the 3 games. They're going to lean on him like crazy. The wide receivers are injured in Darnell Mooney. Kyle Pitts, the disappointment he is. And Michael Penix has Drake London, right? But Michael Penix Jr. is not a mobile quarterback. He's going to check down whenever he's in trouble to Bijan. He's going to get a ton of receptions. And he's going to get a ton of work on the ground, and they're going to lean on him near the end zone instead of trusting a guy that started 3 games. So I think Bijan Robinson's going to have a monster season.
Okay. That was a lot of stats, which you're the analyst, so way to go. Way to fill your name. Why MVP versus offensive player? Yeah.
The more realistic one is offensive player of the year.
Well, sure. I mean, and we're bold predictions.
Yeah, this is bold predictions. So that's why I'm doing this.
Okay.
Again, like I said, if I actually had to like put my house on the line, I'm picking like Joe Burrow or Jaden Daniels.
Sure.
But I do think Bijan Robinson, if I'm going to go outside of the quarterback position, Bijan Robinson would be my number 1 choice. So I think he's like, that's why I said he's going to be fully in the running. He's still going to have a hard time winning, even if he puts up 2,000 scrimmage yards. And you
don't think he falls off from last year because they're going to defend him better and all the things?
No. Now their offensive line is a little hurt. I'm not even going to bring that up because it doesn't help my prediction. But
that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
No,
I do think Bijan's going to have an absurd year, and I'm really excited for him.
Okay. I mean, I hope so. Here's the thing. I want all of our predictions to come true, and then people are like, "Wow,
they're so smart.
They're such hot girls and have such hot takes." You know?
And they love Taylor Swift.
That's right. We're the best. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Give me your last prediction.
Okay. Again, I went bold. Listen, I heard the assignment and I said, I'm going to do that assignment, right? And you already know what I'm going to say, probably, if you listened to anything I said last week. The Washington Commanders.
Homer.
Make it to the Super Bowl.
Homer.
Ba, ba, ba. Okay. Homer. Yeah. I lived there 5 years. Okay. But yes. Okay. I love the Commanders this year. Okay. And last week, if you listened, I said Eagles have a chance to go back to back, right? Well, she was dumb and didn't know the information she has now, right? And so I think Terry signing is so good for them. I think they changed in the off season enough to be more versatile, but not enough to uproot the foundation that they have as a team. And so, again, I really believe Jaden is set up for success for this year, for his third season. He doesn't have to worry about like, I had this great rookie season and I need to really perform this year, right? Like, I think he can really settle in. And, this is anybody that is from Houston is like, we hate this guy, but Tunzel from the Texans, offensive line, I think he's going to do great if, and it's a big old giant if, he doesn't get a billion penalties. He had so many penalties last year. I don't know the numbers. That's not my job, but it was so many.
He led the league in offensive
Of course
penalties.
he did, yes. If he can figure it out, I think that only helps Jaden Daniel have more time to throw the ball to the folks we've already talked about. And then I know you don't like him, but I'm going to bring him up. Deebo Samuel. Okay. I love Deebo Samuel. I just think he's a vibe. I just really appreciate him. Here's the thing. I think he shines across from Terry McLaurin.
Okay.
Why? Because they both need solid defenders on them. And I think I just think it's a great dynamic for them to get touches, to get touchdowns, and to only put the Commanders in a better place to potentially get to the Super Bowl.
Now, for sure, Deebo Samuel will succeed more with a Terry McLaurin on the other side because Deebo Samuel cannot separate to save his life. So he needs the coverage to be taken from him. And I do think that's why he struggled a bit last year because Brandon Ayuk got hurt and there were so many injuries and Christian McCaffrey was out. So all the attention was put on Deebo. And Deebo's not a good route runner whatsoever. But he is a good gadget player. I'll give him that. And when he really wants to try, he can. It just depends on when he wants to try and if he wants to try this year. Those are all my issues.
When they're trying to go to the Super Bowl, right?
No, I love their offense. I do think they've made progress on their defense. I'm excited to see what they can do this year. And it's like Jaden Daniels just needs to make sure he doesn't have that sophomore slump, which some guys do. But with the rushing, I don't think he's going to have that big of a. I like watching him last year. He just really looked like one of those truly elite quarterbacks that are going to be great in this league. So I don't mind that. And I don't even actually think it's that bold.
Oh, okay. I felt like it was very bold.
Well, they made the NFC Championship last year.
I understand that. I just think to say they're going to go over like the Eagles and some other folks
still bold.
It's bold.
No, I like it.
Don't knock on my bold choices.
All right, that's it for our bold predictions. We're going to finish up today's episode with our 2-minute warning. And today for our 2-minute warning, we are going to predict. We're going to give you one more prediction. And it's going to be the coach of the year. Who is going to win that award at the end? And whoever's the coach of the year, that means the team is really, really good, right? So it's kind of a double prediction here. Nycole, who's your coach of the year?
Okay. You guys are going to roll your eyes when I say this, but I just think he deserves it.
Oh my God. Are you going another homer pick here?
Shh, you don't know. I don't share my notes because she likes to not know my notes, but I'm very obvious. So it is D'Amico Ryans. And you know why? It's going to be his third year as the Texans coach. We already talked. They went to the division round the last 2 years. That's 2 years of really good success, right?
They don't get enough credit for that success.
They don't.
For winning a playoff game each of the last 2 years.
Exactly. When there was like a drought for a long, long time, right? And he just came in and was like, we're going to go to the divisional round, right? So like, love that for us. All they've done, I believe in this offseason is add weapons for Stroud on offense. Defense is still going to be in the top 10. I believe they may even slide a little into the top 5. Okay. I think they were 6th last year. I think they've only gotten stronger and better with their additions in the offseason. And after looking at their schedule and really thinking about it, I really think they're set to win at least 12 games this year, which I think puts him in the running for Coach of the Year.
I like it. I mean, I don't mind it. I like mine way better, though. And it's
Shocking.
I'm going to go Chargers, Jim Harbaugh. I've been talking about the Chiefs, Chargers, all episode long. But right off the bat, if you want to go put a bet on this, it's plus 2,000 odds on FanDuel. So plus 2,000 for Jim Harbaugh to win. It would be a second time winning. He has won before, but it was a really long time ago. And again, I said it can be political or they're not going to give it to the same guy, but it was 2011 when he won, and he was the 49ers head coach then. It's been forever. It was his first year with the 49ers, but he already brought the Chargers to 11-6 season last year. And I brought up how I think they're going to be better. I think they made all the moves on the offense to be a much better team with all the wide receivers they brought in. Bringing back Keenan Allen, I think, is being highly underrated. And then fixing their running back group, I think, is huge too. They already had the number one defense in the league last year. So excited about this team. And also, from weeks 8 through 18 last year, they were 8-3. So they got better as the year went on. Second year with Jim Harbaugh, I think that they're going to be winning 12, 13, 14 games. And again, if I think they're going to win the AFC South, any coach, whoever it is, that finally wins the AFC West, not AFC South, AFC West over the Chiefs, is going to win Coach of the Year.
That's a good point.
If they win over Andy
That's
Reid,
the only
Patrick
point
Mahomes,
I agree with.
if Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers win the division, he's winning Coach of the Year because he finally beat out Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes for the division.
Listen, as long as the Raiders are number 2, I'm happy with it.
Okay. Well, those are our predictions. We gave you lots of them. Please subscribe to our podcast if you're listening to an audio form. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a subscription there. Leave us reviews. Tell us what you want to hear, what you hated about this show too. Tell us anything you want, what you love, what you hated. Help us grow and help us just, entertain you the best we can. We will be back next week to talk week 1 games. That's
Can't wait.
so exciting.
Can't wait.
Talk to you then.